Yes, good evening, guys. You are live with the Red Sea podcast. My name is Tiago's father, 89, and we have big business to discuss. City versus Liverpool. It's the Fab 4 preview. City make their way to Anfield on Sunday for the 4:30 kickoff, and we're going to have everything City-Liverpool throughout this whole entire show. So without further ado, let's roll the intro.
Tell the world we are Liverpool, champions of England.
We've conquered all of Europe. We're never gonna stop. From Palestine to Turkey, we've won the fucking lot. But Paisley and the Shankly, the fields of Anfield gold. We are unsupported, and we come from Liverpool.
How are we doing, guys? Fab 4 preview. What we saying?
Yeah. Good.
Excited for the game on Sunday?
Yeah.
Not as excited as me, I can tell you that. Not as excited as me. I absolutely want to rip their fucking heads off. I'm super excited for this
I'm
game.
smelling 4 points clear is what I'm smelling.
Yeah.
I'm smelling 4 points clear. This is the big one, though, isn't it? This is the one. Like we talk about City and Liverpool now as probably the major rivalry in the Premier League, or it has been for the last 4, nearly 5 years. This is the big one. We've seen United kind of drift away recently. We've seen Chelsea come and go in that period of time, but City and Liverpool have remained consistent over the last 4 or 5 years. So this is the big one. This is the one that both managers will want to win. SS, is this the big one? Is this the one? Yeah, the main fixture in the calendar.
I would say so. I was speaking on a rival's point of view last night with Stephen about something similar. And, you had the mid-90s. It was always Arsenal, United was the big game. And then United, Chelsea was the big one for quite a while. It was either of those two. And I agree. Now it is Liverpool City. The only league winners over the last 4 years have been us and them. So it's the biggest fixture in the calendar. I always look out for it when the fixtures are dropped. And yeah, I think, realistically, again, I think it's between these two teams come the end of May of who wins the league. So, they're not won and lost in 90 minutes league titles, but you can certainly make a big difference. And, we've had chances before in previous seasons when we've come up against City and we could have had a 4-point lead, a 6-point lead, and, they maybe have clawed us back. So, we could be 2 points behind or 4 points clear come Sunday night. So it's a huge match for sure.
Well, we've got a couple of guys in the comments here as well. Ryan Mental, Man United for me.
Yeah.
Sean Barker.
Cool, he's ready for the United fans.
No, I just feel like it is just a bigger game in terms of like the rivalry is just a lot more.
Yeah, the rivalry is bigger.
With United
100%.
fans, it's one of them. Like you get riled up for that game. When we play United over City. Obviously, in terms of quality, United are shit. So we're more on par with City, but
and that's just it. That is just it. I'm not talking about who we hate the most, because if it's a competition of hate, then it's going to be United. United top it all the time, and Chelsea are a close run second in my book. But I'm talking about tactical prowess, quality of football.
Yeah.
Managers looking at any potential advantage to win that game. It has to be City. It has to be City Liverpool at the moment in terms of that game. What are you telling me, SMS? Is this the one that you look at when the fixtures come out? You're there with your little black pen, because I know what you're like. You've got your black marker out, and you're swiping those, ringing those ones, going score predictions on that one. Is this the one? Is this the one?
Well, obviously, like you said, the team that we hate the most is obviously Man United, but the two best teams in the league are Liverpool and Manchester City. So it's a difficult one to say. I mean, me personally, Man United are still the team that I classed as the bigger game for me. Obviously, a massive rivalry, as we all know, but still Liverpool, Man U for me.
So So let's play devil's advocate here, because for me personally, I couldn't give two hoots about the United game because I know we're going to win it. I couldn't give two hoots. Like we're going to go there. They're going to get tranced. Don't get me wrong. They've got CR7 this year, which is a big problem. It's a big problem. But we have Virgil van Dijk. But I don't look at that game and get that warm fuzzy feeling where I think I'm going to see a game of tactics. I'm going to see Ollie come out and play B-Tech football and Klopp just go, all right, mate, we've got a response for that. Whereas when I'm thinking about Pep, Klopp, that is just it just oozes a game of chess, 3D chess. United doesn't do that for me. Now, I'm not turning around and saying that Man United versus Liverpool isn't the biggest rivalry. It's not the most watched game in the whole of world football. It is. It cannot be underpinned. But when we look at the title and the course of the title over the last 4 years, City Liverpool's where it's at. You know, they pipped us by 1 point. Yeah. 1 point. We would have gone unbeaten the whole season had we not have lost to Manchester City. That is huge. That's massive. That is massive. So, yeah, I get it. United's the biggest rivalry. City Liverpool's the biggest game for me that I look for on the fixture calendar.
Yeah.
But think of that warm, fuzzy feeling that you'll get when you see that we absolutely batter them, and you can see all those cocky United fans crying about it, being like, "Oh well, obviously, like we just didn't turn up on the day. Like, obviously, we are better than you. Like, we've got Ronaldo." Like that warm, fuzzy feeling to me, and the bragging rights that I get for where I live, it's amazing.
Do you know what I think it is?
7 buses or something, eh?
Do you know what I think it is? I think while Man United have been better than us for, let's be fair, quite a while back in the day, when we were not the smaller team, but the less successful one, I think the United game meant more at that time, because you're looking up and you think, well, they're winning the league. We can't really compete with them in the league, but in a one-off 90-minute game, we can have them. And I think you get something similar. Everton see the Liverpool match as a bigger game than we see Everton match, because they're always looking up and they're thinking, realistically, we're never going to come above Liverpool consistently. But if we can beat them for 90 minutes or, stop them from winning something, we will. So I think now we're in a stage where we've been more successful than United over the last, 5 years or so. I think we look at Man City now as a bigger match in terms of the outcome of the league, but obviously the bragging rights of United is still huge, but I think we probably look down on them a tad now than we did. Obviously we looked up to them before. I think that's where it maybe changed slightly.
I think you make a very, very good point there, SS. So that leads us nicely, very, very nicely into what we're here to do today. We're here to handle some business. It is the Fab 4 City preview show. So SMS, as normal, talk to us about the recent head-to-head between Manchester City and Liverpool, because I'm really sure it's probably better than the Man United one anyway. So let's get into it.
Right, so we've played 168 games in total in the Premier League. At Anfield, Liverpool have won 29, Manchester City have won 31, and there's been 23 draws. At the Etihad, which I said last night, Liverpool have won 49, Manchester City 14, and there's been 21 draws. In total, there's been 515 goals scored in this fixture in the Premier League, 286 for Liverpool, 229 for Manchester City. And just quickly and briefly, the last 5 results has been obviously most recently at Anfield, where there was no fans, so that one really doesn't count. They won that one 4-1. We won before that 3-1, then it was 0-0, then 4-3 to us and 1-0. So we've only just been beaten once, and that was obviously in the game last season when there was no crowd. So Anfield factor, lads behind everyone behind each other, and I'm confident we're going to get the win.
I'm very, very confident too. I mean, I have to say, I'm as taken aback as Joseph. How have they got the better of us in terms of the head-to-head at Anfield? Surely on Sunday we rectify that and make it a bit more palatable in that respect. But look, the games over the recent years have been some real power struggles between us and Manchester City. So I'm expecting a tasty game. I really, really am. Now, just before we move on and we really get tucked into the meat and the bones of the agenda, I'm trying to do a bit of housekeeping as well. As you can see, scrolling down the bottom of your screen, we are so close. So close. It's within touching distance. I can
taste it.
Smell it. I can taste it. Yeah. 400 subs. Guys, thank you for everyone in the comments that's been supporting us. It's been absolutely amazing for you guys to come on this journey with us, because we started. When did we start? What, March? We went on our own?
Well, we didn't launch our own channel till start of this season, did we? Only 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Sorry, 2 months. God, it's flown. So within 2 months, we've been able to get to 400 subscribers, in excess of 5,000 on Twitter when they let us back into it. We've been blazing an absolute trail. It's all thanks to you guys as well, so it's much appreciated. But the work isn't done yet. If you are new and you are in here watching this show, please head over now, like and subscribe. I'll say it again, like and subscribe. And also, while you're there, press that little bell button so you keep up to date with everything we've got coming from the Red Sea podcast. International break is coming up. I'm telling you guys, we have got the best Liverpool shows planned, for this week. One name, Red Men TV. That's all I'm going to say.
Triple header as well.
Triple header. Yeah, so make sure you keep it Red Sea podcast right throughout the international break, because we don't stop. We keep the content rolling. So, who'll start at right back? And Courtney, I'm going to come to you on this one, because this is a debate that's been raging at the moment, because 36-year-old James Milner has been putting it in. When he's filled in the right back position, he's looked absolutely sensational. Does he start at right back in this game? Because we know Trent's out.
Yeah, so for me, it is the toss-up between, obviously, Milner or Gomez, but it's Millie all day for me. And I think the fact that he took him off as well in the last game, I think he was resting him for Sunday. So I do think he's going to go with Millie at right back. And do you know what? I hope he does, because he's going to give Grealish a load of shit. He's going to stick it on him. As soon as he comes near, he's going to stick it on him straight away. I'm just worried about the yellow cards. But he's going to stick it on him straight away. He's not going to take any shit from Grealish at all. And I just can't wait to see it. I know there is a few debates where people are thinking he's going to put Sterling out on there because of his pace and things like that. But I don't know. I think Grealish, Milner is the battle that I want to see.
So let's delve into this a little bit, because we know James Milner isn't blessed with pace, but he has that tactical knowledge. He's definitely got the ability to nullify Jack Grealish, because if that's going to be the matchup, and I still think he also has the tactical ability to nullify Raheem Sterling as well, if that is going to be the tactical matchup. SS, I'll come to you on this. Grealish is a player where he draws tactical fouls. James Milner's a player where he relishes the physical battle. Could this be a bit of a slippy banana skin? James Milner coming up against his former club, Jack Grealish drawing those tactical fouls. Has this got potential early yellow card written all over it, and James Milner on ice for the rest of the game?
Potentially. I think we've come up against, Wilfried Zaha in the past with Milner playing at fullback, and he has got the booking pretty much every time. But it's an interesting one. I look at it and I think, well, against Manchester City, you have to play slightly differently anyway. So I wouldn't have expected Robertson and Trent to be as far forward and as attackive as they would be normally in this fixture. So bringing in a Milner, Trent would be doing more defensive work in this game than normal anyway. So Milner's not going to be going up and down all day long. He's going to be picking his moments when to go forward, purely because he can't do it for 90 minutes. So he's going to be slightly deeper anyway and be a little bit more defensive. So I think what Courtney says is right. I think he's gonna let him know he's there early. He's gonna keep him, in his box. And I mean, Grealish is fast, but he's not blessed with absolute electric pace like a Wilf Zaha. So I think that's a potential really good matchup. I think Milner will be able to handle him. I think he will get lots of little fouls off him. So we've got to be careful not to give any too dangerous set pieces away. And like you say, you don't want 2 yellow cards either. But I mean, I'm not too worried. And again, I agree with Courtney. I think Milner is a better option there than Gomez. I think he's just got a little bit more tactical awareness in that position. I've never ever felt comfortable with Gomez at fullback at all. So yeah, I think you got Van Dijk in there, you got Matip in there. If Fabinho's going to be sitting in there as well, I think Milner will be absolutely fine.
No, no, not yet. I've still got it. I'm still like, I'm in that like, does it go? Guys, like, it's wrapped up. It's in the stuff. It's boxed, ready to be sent away.
Can't part with it.
But every time I look to take it with me and stick it in the post, you're just like, don't go. I just can't do it. I can't do it yet. I'm not ready to let go of it. Because it is growing on me. It really, really is. To be honest. It's mental. It's absolutely mental. But back to business. SMS. There's been a few little ones in here talking about maybe Costa sat on the right. Nah, that's not for me.
Nah.
Milner's got to start there for me, and I don't care who he comes up against, whether it be Grealish, whether it be Sterling, whether it even be Ferran Torres. I think he's got the tactical ability to mark these players out of the game. I mean, we saw it in the what game did he play right back? What was the last game he played? Against Palace? Yeah, Palace. Mate, it was just a little run, and he positioned himself between the two men.
Yeah.
So it meant that if he went wide, he was there. If it went inside, he was there. That's tactical knowledge, and Milner's got that in an abundance. So, are you worried playing Milner out there against the absolute pace merchant in Raheem Sterling, or a player who's technically good on the ball in Jack Grealish?
No. Simple answer, no. It's like you say, TF. Milner generally is a 7 out of 10 each game that he plays for me. And if you, like you've quoted a few times, if you're a 7 out of 10 every week in, week out, then obviously that's why you're a professional footballer. So for me, he's never let us down in any game that I can think of recently where he hasn't put in that performance. And I think, if anything, if you just go through Grealish or Sterling within the first couple of minutes, let them know that you're there, then he's not going to be interested the rest of the game. So that's what you do in Sunday League. That's what I would do anyway. Let them know that you're there.
Well, Courtney does.
Yeah. But no, it's tactical. Like he done quite a few tactical fouls on Zaha. Didn't actually get booked in that game, as far as I'm aware. If he did, it was quite late on. But no, I wouldn't be worried at all. But if you're going off form, then you'd think he's odds on to go in at that right back place. But then again, form doesn't always mean you start, because look at Tsimikas. If you look on the difference between Robbo and Tsimikas, Robbo's still a world-class player, but on form so far this season, Tsimikas has been better. So obviously I think Milner will start, because I don't think we've really realistically, yes, we've got Gomez, but I wouldn't put him there. He's got the pace, but he's not a right back. So I think Gomez would struggle more than Milner.
You make a good shout. So SS, just so we can just give you the final say on this.
Okay.
90 minutes of football. Is Millie prime for 90 minutes of football against Manchester City, a team that's going to be probing the whole game? They're going to be probing, in putting the ball in, putting it back out, putting it in, putting it out. Or is he going to play 60 and then we see this?
Yeah, I mean, they've had a bit of a spit in the
that's
car.
What I want to see. That's pay-per-view, that is. That is
Sterling
what I
was
want
like,
to see.
go on then, what are you going to do? Gomez is like,
yeah, because that's what I want to see. That's pay-per-view. That is.
Yeah, I mean, there's even been someone we haven't even mentioned in Nico Williams as well, who is supposed to be our backup right back, but is like fourth choice in his own position. So yeah, I don't see that. He's not played at all, has he? So it's going to be Millie to start. I agree with Courtney. He comes off after an hour in the Champions League for that exact reason. When your game's dead and buried against Porto, you protect the ones that are playing in the next game. So Mane, Salah, Hendo, Millie all come off. Makes complete sense. But if he's struggling, yes, Gomez could do 20 minutes at right back. We've seen it before. You know, he came on there against Porto as well. But I think Milner just runs for days, doesn't he? You know, he's the pre-season king. He doesn't overdo it. You know, even when he got taken off in that game, and you know he had to like have a stare down with Klopp on the sideline, like, "What'd you take me off for? What'd you take me off?" And Klopp was like, "Do you remember that one when they were on the sideline having an argument?" But if Miller's fine and he's all right and he's not got any knocks, he'll play. The only reason he'll come off is if they've had Mahrez against him for an hour and then they chuck Sterling on and he's like, "Bloody hell." You know, a fresh one for half hour. Maybe we put a Gomez in to nullify on that side. But yeah, I think Millie more than capable of playing 90 minutes at right back against anybody.
Yeah, I agree. I just think with Milner that you know when the tiredness starts to creep into his game, then he starts to get edgy, doesn't he? Where he's like, "Do you know what? Fuck it, I'm clipping your heels. I'm bringing you down." Do you know what I mean? That old school footballer in him comes out thinking, "You ain't going to drag me down there and into the corner, into the depths. I'm just going to take your legs out, and then I'm just going to reset, catch my breath, give the team an opportunity to reset and catch their breath." That's why I just think he's got early yellow card written all over it. Now, I just want to jump into a couple of the comments as well. One of my favorite names on YouTube to date. This name is legendary. Ultra Freestyle Swordsman. Like this is legendary. Thiago's father, Hussam signed an apology for Curtis Jones. Where's yours? Listen, you should have seen my tweets. I was groveling. Curtis Jones has been an absolute revelation, to be fair. And again, it leads us nicely into the next segment in the show. So thank you for that, Ultra Freestyle Swordsman. Has Curtis Jones done enough to get a start against Manchester City? And I can see Courtney nodding like the Churchill dog.
Yeah.
She's obviously got a lot to say on this one here. It's a debate that's been raging for the best part of a year. Is he good enough? Does he, or is it just potential? That's what's really been said? Is he good enough, or is it just potential? I personally think, off the back of the last two performances we've seen, that he's good enough. So
that's all you can go off, though. You've got to go off the form of the player. You can't go off past games, and if we're going last season, things like, you go off how they are now. Because some players, they go through a spike and then they go for a bit of a shit patch. That's just the way it is. But he is on form at the minute, and the way that he's performing, you can't not have him started. Like, that'd just be a massive kick in the teeth for him if he didn't start. Because at the end of the day, what does that tell your players? You put in these performances and you're not getting picked. Like, where's the competition in the team then? So I feel like it's only right that he starts when he's performing like he has been. He was unbelievable the other night. So I just think, why not? Why wouldn't you start him? I feel like he's a guaranteed start for me.
Well, he's taken his opportunity, hasn't he? Because we look at the current midfield, the midfield situation. Some have been calling it a midfield crisis. I don't think we're at that stage yet. Maybe we're one or two injuries or additional injuries away from it potentially being a midfield crisis. But we've got bodies in that department, something we've been starved of for the last season. Thiago's out injured, Harvey Elliott out injured, Keita on the comeback trail as well. And then all that's happened is Curtis Jones has come in and said, well, if Harvey's out injured, Thiago's out injured, and he's picking up his little niggly injuries, I'm your man. I can fill that role. He's taking his chance. Yeah, totally. And and I'll come to you on this, SS. Have you seen enough in those last two games to turn around and say that there's no reason to drop him? There's no reason to drop him. He goes into that City game and he starts. And just bear in mind that this is a huge occasion. I know it's early doors. It's only game week 8, I think, in the season. It's very, very early. But these kind of fixtures have the ability to make or break players. Yeah. City have got some star-studded midfielders. We have to give them their respect. So Curtis Jones could potentially come out of this cementing a place in that Liverpool midfield if he absolutely bosses it. Or he could come out scratching his head thinking, when am I next going to get a start if he gets pulled at 60 minutes? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, like you say, like Courtney said, he's earned it, isn't he? I mean, you clipped me perfectly on Twitter on a previous video when I was saying he was the man. he was going to do it. He was going to play well in the Champions League, and he was going to start this game. So I said he was going to play in this City game 2 weeks ago. And if Harvey Elliott doesn't get that injury, he starts tomorrow. He starts this weekend in that midfield three. So, Curtis Jones is 2 years his senior. He's had a couple of the extra years in this Liverpool squad. So there's absolutely no reason at all that you wouldn't put Curtis Jones in for this, especially with the injuries that you've just mentioned. The likes of Thiago out. Keita hasn't featured since that Norwich League Cup game. He came off at half time because he kicked a blade of grass. You don't chuck him straight back in from the start against Man City. Chamberlain has been injured or in poor form. So, Milner potentially could play midfield. He's going to be playing at right back. So a bit similar to about a year ago when we had a very similar crisis, if you want to call it that, where the centre-backs were out. Henderson had to drop into centre-back. Fabinho had to drop into centre-back. And a position was opened up, and Curtis Jones, again, he had his chance. He had a decent run in the team, but I think it was maybe just a year too soon, and he made too many little basic errors, and he dropped back out again. He didn't really feature for the rest of the season. So again, we've seen him do well against Brentford. We've seen him having a fantastic game in the Champions League. So what an occasion, what a chance to really, like you say, lay down a marker, because if he plays like he has been in this game, he puts himself above Ox, above Keita, and possibly 50-50 with Thiago, because I don't think Thiago was in our best midfield anyway. And now you look at it, and he'll
never be 50-50 with Thiago, let's be clear.
You can't say that around him.
I think Thiago was going to struggle to get back in this team if Jones, Henderson and Fabinho carry on the way they're going.
Listen, Jones has got a lot of talent, but Thiago is a craftsman. He possesses something which no other midfielder in world football possesses. Yeah, it's different levels, right? We've seen the passing ability of this man. It is different levels. So I get it. And as I said, like I said on the pod before, right? You don't go in your back garden and dig a hole with a spoon. Although it will do it, you don't go in your backyard and dig a hole with a spoon. You use a shovel. Same as you don't eat your breakfast with a shovel unless you're a complete animal. I know we know some, but it just doesn't happen. So you have different tools for different jobs. Yeah.
Well,
Curtis Jones could do a role in there, but he can't do what Thiago does. He just can't do it. It's not possible.
If you had a run of games, say, and Curtis Jones is absolutely on fire, we're winning 3 points, 3 points, 3 points, week in, week out. Are you gonna, as soon as Thiago's back fit, are you gonna put him in starting 11?
If I'm playing against, if I'm playing against, it depends. Again, it depends who I'm playing against, and this is the whole point of rotation. If I'm coming up against a low block team, which I need to break them down, Thiago's my man.
But you need your strongest 11. So if you're going your strongest 11, who would you pick?
Thiago's in my strongest 11.
Even if Jones was just.
Yeah. Would you play him tomorrow if he was fit, James?
Yes.
Would you drop Jones for Thiago tomorrow?
Yes, because he'd destroy City.
Sunday.
That game would be built. That game would be built for Thiago. Like, respectfully to Curtis Jones, phenomenal talent. He has done exceptionally well, and I've had to eat my words on Curtis Jones because me and SS was super critical. Everything we were saying last year was. I
wasn't super critical of him. You was. I've never been critical of Jones.
You was agreeing with me.
I said he needs to improve the basics, but I wasn't critical of him.
Yeah, I say that's critical. I was super critical, saying I've got a player we've got a player who's phenomenally talented, but he just doesn't do the basics. He overcomplicates things, and it was a huge frustration of mine. Ball in transition, he's trying to slow it down. Get the fucker forward. We've got 3 men breaking. Get it in. Do you know what I mean? Get that ball in, and he just wasn't doing that. He wanted to almost trying to dictate play a little bit more, slow it down, play at his tempo. There's a time and a place to do that. In the last 2 games he's played, or 3 games that he's featured as a whole, he's looked absolutely outstanding. Yeah, absolutely outstanding. But those 3 games don't make up for a whole career of this. Yeah, don't make up for a whole career of that. Yeah, Thiago, Brazilian, Italian, Spanish definition of sexy midfielder. That is what I'm saying. Sexy football all day, every day. But we give him his respect. Curtis Jones's close control is unbelievable. I think he's switching. I think he's watching Bobby. I get it. He's got the ability, yeah. But Thiago is just absolutely sensational.
I've not seen it enough yet. Not consistently enough. 10 games at the end of a season isn't enough for me. He's out again.
Dude, he's part of
Still
our
needs to convince.
He's part of our most successful midfield in terms of run rate.
God, really? Is that a trophy for that? Is there?
No, there's not. There's not. But you might get a trophy for it.
I've not seen. I hope I've not even seen half of what Thiago can offer to this team, because so far it's been pretty average.
I have to disagree. I think in possession, there's nobody better in the league at the moment. And I think the only issue that we've got is, and we always talk about it, availability is the best ability. Availability is the best ability. And at the moment, you got a couple agreeing with you.
There you go, two.
No, you got a couple agreeing with you. And again, I'm not sitting here turning around and defending it. But if you have to put your best 11 out on that pitch, let's all be very clear. Thiago, at the moment, with what we've got in our team, Thiago's in your best 11.
Would you not go off form? Would you not go off form? Because I think it sends the wrong message if someone's just performing amazingly and you're not putting him in your starting 11. What's that?
He's done that with Simicast, though, hasn't he? So, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's a squad game. It's a squad game. It depends on, and this is why I made the analogy of you don't dig up a hole with a spoon. It depends on who you're playing against. Yeah, Brentford, Curtis Jones slapped Brentford. Porto, Curtis Jones slapped Porto. The real test is going to be on Sunday.
Agreed.
That's when the real, because what will happen is, as fans, if he doesn't perform at the same level, yeah, what will happen is the knives will come out and go, yeah, I knew you weren't good enough. That's what modern football is now. Fans are fickle in that way. They'll all go, yeah, knew he couldn't handle it, knew he didn't have what it takes. Where's Thiago when we need him? Why didn't we play Keita? Or where was Ox? We'll all look for reasons as to why a player's not in there. Do you know what I mean? So if he goes out tomorrow and he slaps up Manchester City,
hear your words.
We get the FIFA apology signed.
No, we're going to do this again. We have to clip this for after.
Yeah, clip it.
I reckon. What if Jones drops a man of the match performance? We see the beard go.
No. Let's be very clear, ladies and gentlemen. This is 2 years of sculpting, nurturing, watering.
Beard oil.
It can't happen. It can't happen.
Well, like the Aussies did, where you put a dress on for the next.
Yeah, that'll do. Curtis Jones. Curtis Jones, man of the match. Thiago's mother comes instead.
Yeah.
Listen, Thiago's mother's downstairs sleeping, pal. Go wake her up if you want, but you know what she's like. I wouldn't want to do that. Shout out to the guys in the comments. Just a quick bit of housekeeping as well. Here you go. Every time I watch Thiago play, I make love with my TV thinking it's him. Dude, I'm there.
Oh, God.
There. I've been there. I've been making love to the TV since Barcelona days. Yeah. Look, I hate to wax and carry on. Bobby, what's his name? Sorry, forgive me. His name escapes me. Ex-Newcastle manager who's now passed away. Bobby Robson. So Bobby Robson. He said this from Thiago as a youth player. There's a player at La Masia called Thiago. He's going to change football. That was his words. Google it. It's there. And everybody from there was like, yeah, Thiago's an absolute revelation, and he has been. The only thing that stopped him getting into that Barcelona team was the fact he had Xavi and Iniesta there. No Xavi and Iniesta. Thiago runs that Barcelona midfield for the next 20 years. It's clear. So let's jog it on slightly after we've been
talking about a player that's not even going to play.
Sexually talking about a player who's he eventually gives me goosebumps. Yeah. Right. So we're gonna come over to you, SMS. Here we go. Look. Lovely. If he was fit, 100%.
Fair enough.
Pep Guardiola quote: Thiago or nothing. How many quotes has Curtis Jones got?
Give it a few years.
Yeah.
If he was that good, why didn't Pep sign him? He got Gundogan instead.
He wanted to, but he couldn't. He couldn't get him out of Bayern because Bayern wouldn't let him go. But quickly, I know we've touched on this already, but how important is James Milner to this current Liverpool team? Just out of 10, can we, 1 being the least and 10 being the max, and we'll just go around the room quickly. So,
Okay.
SMS, we'll start with you.
I'd say 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10, and this is everything. This is leadership, everything, the full package. 8 out of 10. Yeah. Courtney.
I'm going 10 out of 10. I feel like we need a Milner. He's Mr. Reliable. He's there when you need him. He can slot in where you need him. He's got the experience, the leadership. I feel like he's needed.
SS.
It's a tricky one because realistically, nowadays, other than injuries, he doesn't really play, does he? Let's be fair. So, yeah, I think he's a very important person around the squad in training. People like Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott will look up to him and think that's how you become a pro. That's the attitude I need to come in every single day so that I'm still here at 36 years of age and still, making things happen. But I don't think he's a 10 out of 10 anymore. I think it's slowly gone down a mark every year in the last 4 years because he was a big part of the 11. And if you're talking about the back four, if it was fit, he doesn't play in there. The midfield three, you've got Elliott, Henderson, and Fabinho. You've then got Thiago. You've then got Keita. You've then got Jones. Where does Milner feature in that midfield list?
It's of the starting 11 though. It's just having him in the squad.
That's what. Yeah, I agree. That for me, having him in the squad is 10 out of 10 because I'd hope he'd become a coach and stay around. But in terms of how important is he to this Liverpool team? Yeah, he's a good utility player, but that's all he is really now, isn't it? In an 11.
But he's great at what he does.
He's brilliant, yeah. But
if I was going to have I couldn't think of another player that could do a James Milner role.
I agree.
He could put gloves on and go at net for me.
They're playing devil's advocate. So playing devil's advocate before I come to you, SMS. Is that not what Jordan Henderson's role is?
In what way? Sorry, just what, leadership and stuff like that?
Yeah. So if Millie walked out the door tomorrow, and this was his final season, would we still have that same dynamic in the leadership group? Because we've seen him do it. We've seen him call players out. Hell, last week he was calling out Virgil, and Hendo was calling out Virgil as well. That's big Virg. You gotta have balls. You gotta have balls of steel to be calling that man out. So I'll ask the question again: how important out of 10 is he to this Liverpool team?
Milner or Henderson? What about now?
Milner.
I'm still sticking with me 8 out of 10. I mean, I agree with SS. His leadership skills 10 out of 10. There's no any way, shape, or form that his leadership would do value him. Because obviously his experience, he never lets us down. But it's like SS said, if it wasn't for the injuries, he would just be a bit part player, unfortunately. And yes, best free signing that the club have ever made. But for me, I'm still sticking by 8 out of 10 for me.
My thing is and I liken it back to when we first signed James Milner, or we were first linked. I was like, why are we signing sideways Milner? Why? This guy's horrendous. Do you know what I mean? You don't appreciate him until you have him in your team. He's priceless for me. He's priceless. There isn't anybody in our team that offers what he does. The know-how to win. Because at the point when he came into the team, we were lacking that real understanding of how to win the big trophy, which was the Premier League.
Yeah.
He came in the Brendan Rodgers era as a free transfer. just caught the last tail end of Stevie G being at the club. Milner came in, and you could see straight away, and to have the big guts to take the number 7 shirt as well, that takes huge balls, considering who'd come out of the number 7 shirt. Yeah, that takes huge balls. So for me, it's 10 out of 10 for me. 10 out of 10 for James Milner, just for everything he offers as a complete package, not just to do with the starting 11, but his presence around the dressing room, his leadership qualities around the club. Absolutely fantastic. So 10 out of 10 for me. And I think Liverpool would be in a far worse position if it wasn't for him. Fielding at left back in the season where Moreno was absolutely atrocious. and arguably was the best left back in the league. That was mental. At what he would have been 34. He was the best left back in the league. Then drops into the midfield, does a role in the midfield as well. Slots in at right back, like Court said, give him a pair of gloves and stick him in net. He'd be absolutely fantastic, wouldn't he? You know what I mean? It'd be absolutely fantastic.
You nailed it, mate. You absolutely nailed it.
Have I nailed that one?
Instant net.
Thank you, guys. Say it again for the viewers, Courtney.
Internet.
Love it.
Gosh, love it. Absolutely love it. Love it. Right. So, guys, we're going to jog it on slightly. We're going to talk about Jurgen Klopp's comments in the recent press conference. And I quote unquote, City are still the best team in Europe. SS. Talk to me.
I've got many Champions Leagues to pack it up, though, have they?
No.
This is why I came to you first, because I knew that was what you were going to say.
They always play these mind games, though, don't they? Go, what did Pep say in midweek? Oh, I don't know how we handle PSG. You can't stop them. Like, well, you've spent £1 billion, mate. You know, you've got to take on these teams at some point. You can't just roll over every time you come up against a team that's on the same level as you. So they all try it. They all like the backup, you know, underdog tag. Man City are never going to be underdogs because they spend more money than anyone else, and they've been successful doing it. But yeah, you know, Jurgen Klopp knows that, you know, the amount of times these two have come up against each other. They did it in Germany. They've done it here. So it's always, there's never really been one that's dominated the other. They always tend to, you know, have a lot of ding dong games, and this year's going to be no different. You know, I think I said last night on Rival's point of view, I think both of them are probably coming into this game to not lose at this early stage. I don't think either of them are going to be disappointed with a draw come Sunday night. I think the return leg could be slightly more interesting if you've got, obviously, did you say it was in January? So halfway through the season, what's the points gap looking like? Because if you're 4 points behind and you lose and it's 7, that's a big gap to hold, you know, to claw back. So yeah, I'm not surprised. I think Pep Guardiola would probably have said the same thing. Oh, Anfield's the most difficult place in the world to go. 4 days after I said PSG was the most difficult place in the world to go. So I'm not surprised, but mind games, it's nothing new, is it? We've seen it with Fergie and Rafa's facts rant and all the rest of it. But, you know, these are the two, you know, most stylish kind of popular managers in this league for me. I mean, Tuchel is still fairly new. And like you mentioned earlier, Ollie is not anywhere near the level. You know, these two have done it differently. I mentioned last night, you know, Klopp's one of their managers that takes a team and polishes it up and keeps it there. Pep's more one that is very good at managing the top players in the world and getting the best out of them and teaching them a new style. So neither one is wrong or right. It's about the opportunity that they've been given. But yeah, I think, you know, it's all going to be smiles come Sunday. So I wouldn't read too much into it.
Okay. Leads me nicely on to the next question. And I'm going to come to you, Courtney B.
Yes.
Yeah, Statman will be all over that.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got to, like, as you would see, you've got to give him his flowers. He is a top class manager, but he's not a Klopp. He needs the money. Without the money, he's got nothing. If you would have gave him our team when Klopp walked in, we would have been shit. We would have
He
been
needed 2 billion, wouldn't he?
not be where we were. He needs the top class players to do anything. He can't build a team up from the ground. He's just a different kind of manager in that sense. Klopp built us up, and like you said, kept us there, polished and whatever you said. But Pep can't do that, and he wouldn't have been able to do that.
So before we get into an SMS rant about Pep being a fraud, I can see the
Get the popcorn out, as Chris said last night.
I can see the steam whizzing. He's like, just wind him up. He's ready to go. I feel that Pep has gifted to every country bar Spain that he's managed in. So Germany and now England, he's gifted a style of football, because we weren't playing football in the same way we play it now until Pep Guardiola came. In Germany, it was always a very powerful league, a lot of power in their strikers. You think about strikers like Mandzukic playing in the Bundesliga prior to obviously Pep turning up. Players like Podolski, Carsten Janka of years gone by, Michael Ballack in that midfield, powerhouses, Ziriberto, wingers, but serious powerhouses. Rory Mackay, again, striker for Bayern Munich, was small, but was a powerhouse up front. It was a league where it was very dominant, whereas now it's a very technical league. Statman, I'll come to you. Is that the Pep factor? Is that what you get with Pep Guardiola? Because we look at leaders like Arsene Wenger when he came to the Premier League, changed the culture. Drinking culture disappeared when Arsene Wenger arrived. For us, Gerard Houllier was another revolutionary in the Premier League. Doesn't get the respect that he's due for how he revolutionised certainly Liverpool and some of the football in the Premier League. Is Pep Guardiola in that bracket? Wherever he goes, does his style become the played or the way of play in that league? And more importantly, is he a fraud?
Well, he's a world-class manager. I'll get that out there first of all. But it's like I said yesterday, the teams that he's walked into, obviously look at Barcelona. They had Messi, Neymar, Xavi, Iniesta, Piqué, Valdez, Eric Abidal, all them players, fantastic players, already walks into a world-class team. Same with Bayern Munich, with obviously the players they had in as well. And then he goes to Manchester City. He's got an open checkbook. He's already spent £1 billion. Let's face it, if Klopp's challenging him now, which he is doing, and he's spent next to nothing in money, he's basically sold to buy. It just shows what a world-class manager Klopp is. If you can imagine, if Klopp had the sort of money that Pep had, then Klopp would be walking the league every single season. We've already won the Champions League under him, and he's been there less time than obviously Pep as well. I wouldn't go as far as saying he's a fraud, but let's face it, if he was offered the opportunity to come to Liverpool, he wouldn't take it because he wouldn't have that money to spend. He always goes to teams where they've got the money at the time. Barcelona had the money at the time. They could buy whoever they wanted, buy every single German player that's on the market. They go out and buy them. It's the same with Manchester City. How many teams will be able to go, oh, I need a new left back. Oh, well, we'll spend 50 million on a flop Mendy. We'll spend 60 million on Cancelo. He's a decent player, but 60 million, 65 million for Diaz, 100 million for Grealish. He is just a checkbook manager, unfortunately, and he walks into teams that are already generally world-class or near enough a team that's already sort of challenging. So for me, Klopp is just world-class, and he's proven that over the seasons when you look at the net spend, which gets mentioned quite a lot. So for me, yeah, Klopp is world-class, and Pep is just, he only goes to teams who have got massive checkbooks.
So I want to elaborate on that a little bit, because I agree with some of what you've said. I disagree with a little bit of it as well. If you look at the teams that he's walked into, so we start with the Barcelona thing. Barcelona were a team which were on the decline when he went there, when he came in. Frank Rijkaard just been sacked. Pep walks in through the door, having annihilated it with their B team, playing some sensational football with their B team. A team with no money, no checkbook, but he's got them playing in a style which is now referred to as risk and reward, tick-a-tacker. Yeah, there was no money associated.
But they're all world-class players, though, weren't they? That's the difference. I mean, Messi, world-class. Xavi, Iniesta.
Not in their B team. Not in their B team. So he's done well in the B team. But... He's promoted into the main team. And you're right, he's got some players there. But he sets about getting rid of Samuel Eto'o. He sets about getting rid of Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Zlatan, yeah, doesn't play. He sets about removing Deco out of that midfield. Ronaldinho out of that midfield. He gets rid of, yeah. And he starts to promote youth players like Xavi, Iniesta. Messi starts to get more game time under him. So whilst we see these players as generational talents now, is there an argument to say that Pep Guardiola has had a hand in their development and actually nurtured those players into what we've seen? And I'll come to you on this one, SS. Is there an argument to say that he's nurtured and grown those players? Because he decimated that Barcelona team, decimated it. Like if you listen to the quotes, and I don't know if you'll be able to find them from Zlatan, to basically say that it got to the point where Pep Guardiola wouldn't even look at him because he made it abundantly clear, you're not my man. You need to leave. You need to get out of here. So, what's your thoughts? Is there an argument to say that he can coach a team from nothing to making it what it was and toppling Real Madrid?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like you mentioned, Rijkaard went out. I think that Barcelona team, although they were full of world-class stars, that it was ready to be evolved into something new. They were all kind of coming to that time. And I think he was right with most of it. I think the Eto'o thing was a mistake. He went on to Inter and won the treble. Did Guardiola actually bring Zlatan in and then get rid of him as well?
Yeah.
So I think they swapped him with Mourinho, didn't they, for Eto'o and about 60 million quid.
Yeah.
So he had money. It wasn't like Barcelona were short of a few bob. They had money. So that was a big flop. Well, they are now. But that was a big flop signing from him, wasn't it? They bought Zlatan in and it didn't work and he shipped him back out again. But yeah, I think he was very, very fortunate again that the youth team that he came through with as a manager was full of ridiculous talent as well. So it was almost like a class of 92 moment, wasn't it? You know, that half the B team became the A team and the foundation of the next 4 years of Barca being very dominant in not just the Liga, but in Europe as well. So yeah, I think he's quite fortunate. Yes, he did a great job, you know, with those youth players, bringing them through. But like SMS said, they had, you know, the skeleton of the world-class team was already there. He promoted 3 or 4 players, and pretty much from day one, he had a world-class team to work with. He did it for about 4 years, had the little sabbatical, and then decided that actually Bayern Munich have got the best 11 in the world. And, you know, again, one of the richest clubs in the world. I'll go there for a bit and see what I can do. But he didn't win the Champions League. So ultimately, Bayern expect to win the league every year, whether it's me or Pep in charge. You know, it doesn't matter. Anytime they're not winning the league, the manager is hooked before it happens. We saw, I think it was Kovac went from Frankfurt to Bayern, lasted 5 minutes. They brought Jupp Heynckes back in again, who'd won the treble, and, you know, back to the status quo. And let's just attack whoever the second best team in Germany is and buy all their players. So I don't think he was a success at Bayern by that standard. And again, at Manchester City, you know, he looked at coming to England. He picked the richest team, and I think Pellegrini was there just before. And again, it was similar to Barcelona. They needed a bit of change. They had enough there to work with, but like Statman said, open checkbook. I'll sign, you know, let's sign Bravo. Oh, it didn't work. All right, we'll sign Edison then. Let's buy a left back. Oh, it didn't work. We'll buy another one. You know, he gets a chance to do it again and again, and he spends more on fullbacks than Klopp's had to spend net on his entire squad. So yeah, again, he's not a fraud, but he's had it pretty easy, isn't he? Klopp's had to start at Mainz, getting promoted to the Bundesliga for the first ever time. He took over Dortmund in a very similar situation to Liverpool, sleeping giants, and worked his finger to the bone, found Lewandowski in Poland, and ended up losing him to Bayern, and thought, this is pointless. Whatever I do with Dortmund, they're just going to be swept up by Bayern. So yeah, I agree with everybody really. Klopp is definitely the better manager and coach. He gets the best out of his players, but I think Pep's similar to Zidane. You walk into an amazing team with amazing superstars, you're going to win trophies, aren't you?
You make some good points. And again, I agree with some, and I disagree with others. But we're gonna jog it on quickly. So before we do, we're gonna go around the room quickly. Simple yes or no. Courtney, is Pep a fraud?
Oh. Well, you can't give me yes or no for that.
Boom.
I'd go yeah then.
Okay. SMS, is Pep a fraud?
I wouldn't go as far as saying yes.
Yes or no, my man? Yes
you
or
can't.
no?
I wouldn't have done.
Yes or no?
No.
Is he a fraud?
No.
No. Okay. SS, is Pep a fraud?
I got some better news. We're back.
Yay! Guys, if you don't know, we've had some difficulties with our Twitter timeline over the last 24 hours. Me and SS having absolute kittens, thinking that we were going to lose the Twitter. There's a point where I had actual tears rolling down my face, thinking all that hard work that we've put in to get to this point. But great news. Twitter have heard our pleas and our cries, and we are back online with Twitter. That was squeaky bum time just there. Yeah, but yeah, I ain't gonna let you get off. Is he a fraud? Yes or no?
He's not a fraud. No.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna reserve judgment.
Oh, what? You can't.
No,
you
come on. No.
Dude, I'm hosting.
On the
my game, my rules.
No.
I refuse to move on until you give our answer.
Yeah.
Okay, no, he's not a fraud. I would like to see Pep Guardiola manage England, because I feel no, honestly, and the reason why I say I'd like to see him manage England, because
he can't buy anybody though.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a factor. The reason why I'd like him to manage England is solely because, from a selfish perspective, is that maybe the FA will actually wake up and actually start to have a DNA of football. Yeah, SS, you and I are involved in coaching at a youth team level. The English DNA of football is absolutely atrocious. It's atrocious. You have different managers playing different styles. Whereas you look in Spain, they have an identity. Yeah, because it starts at the top and it filters down. In Germany, they have an identity. Starts at the top, it filters down. In England, they preach about the English DNA of football, but what even the hell is it?
I'm not
You've
sure.
got to have someone who's going to
take
lead
it to pens, I think, is the DNA. Hope for the best.
You've got to have someone who's going to lead it. And I think Pep Guardiola could do that. Even Arsene Wenger, I think, could do that. Give a DNA to a footballing association and say, there you go. That's how you're going to play. That's what you're going to do. And I respect Pep Guardiola for that reason. He brings a style of football. He sets a trend. Klopp, another one who has set a trend. Teams weren't playing high press, all out football till Klopp started doing it. It was revolutionary. We talk about the Gegen press. Teams weren't doing that, until Klopp started doing it. We talk about tiki-taka, Teams were playing a possession-based style of football, but it wasn't that take the ball, pass the ball, move the ball, take the ball, pass the ball. It wasn't that until Pep revolutionized it. He took the one of the best tacticians and players ever in Johan Cruyff. He took his philosophies and made it real. And if you come out of the school of Johan Cruyff, then my God, you're going to be a sensation. And Pep Guardiola lived it, breathed it, spent weeks, years next to the man, just learning his ways. And we're now seeing it in what he's done with Bayern, Barcelona, what he's done with Manchester City. So for me, he's absolutely not a fraud. I think he gets a lot of stick because of his spend. But if you've got millions upon millions upon millions in your war chest, you're going to spend it, ain't you? Because otherwise, it's no use just sat looking at it.
But you just make sure that he goes to the clubs that have got that war chest. That's the only thing.
Yeah. But it's attractive watching. But guys, we're just going to flip to a couple of your comments as well. Sean Barker, Ultra, I agree. Can you clarify for me? Do you agree if he's a fraud? Or
I think he's agreeing with Gerrard to manage England, which is the comment above him.
Gerrard to manage England. Oh, do you know what? We this is a whole nother pod. I just can't have him anywhere near anything that's going to make me hate him because I love Gerrard too much. I blame the third kit for the Twitter.
That's a good one.
No, Ultra 3-star swordsman. No, we liked you until that comment. We liked you. Right. Last bit of the show.
We got predictions.
No. That's the very, very last bit. That's the
we're on an hour. Jeez.
Where we see you guys nudging each other out and negging each
already
other.
done the prediction.
Yeah, I was going to say we've already done it, haven't we?
Yeah, of course you have.
Yeah.
Just quickly then, key threats for Manchester City. Who have we got to stop? To stop them playing? Who is it that makes them tick? And Courtney, I'll come to you on this. Who makes City tick? Who's the guy?
I feel like it's a mixture, innit? I feel like De Bruyne, Sterling, Jack Grealish is one of them where he gets a lot of fouls in that sense. So he's one of them where you don't want to be giving away those little tick for tats. But De Bruyne, I think, is more of a playmaker in that sense, in terms of linking it up. I feel like he's one of them where I think if you could take him out of the game, we'll be on top. I think with the game on Sunday, I think it's a case of who turns up on the day when it's against City. I feel like sometimes hype it up and then we just put in a shocker. So I feel like it's one of them. Whoever turns up on the day is gonna come out on top. But I'd say
I agree with you. I think it's a case of we've got to rough them up a bit. We've got to rough them up. If we rough them up, then we're into a game. SS, who's their key threat?
I mean, I look at it. I mean, they were away to Chelsea last weekend. Obviously, they had PSG midweek. They made a couple of the changes, but I would expect a similar 11 to the team that played away at Chelsea. It's a similar kind of fixture, isn't it, at Anfield a week later. So that day they started with Bernardo, Rodri, De Bruyne, Jesus, Grealish and Foden in the false nine. So, I think Pep Guardiola basically puts the names in a hat and picks out the first six that come out for that front and midfield. But again, it is a mixture, isn't it? I mean, I don't think De Bruyne's been particularly special for the last 6 months. I don't really think he's been anywhere near his levels. I don't think he's been getting the assists that we're used to seeing. He started to be subbed off. He started to be dropped out of the team, and he was always a mainstay and always involved in everything that was good about City. So he doesn't, he probably have the man of the match performance now, but he doesn't scare me like he has done in previous games. I don't think it's all on him. I think Bernardo Silva, again, he struggles to get the consistency. He's in, he's out, he has a good game. And then they had Ferran Torres, who scored, I think, 3 and 2, and it hasn't even featured for the last 2 Premier League games. So it's very difficult to pick key threats for them. I mean, Jesus, for me, he was never going to replace Aguero. They've played him more. Yeah, they've played him more wide than through the middle. So again, he's not anything particularly special for me. Phil Foden is a brilliant player, but he's not a false nine. And Jack Grealish, I would say, is the only one, because they've just spent him. It's like a brand new toy that Guardiola's got. He's the one that's been playing probably the most consistently across all the competition. So I think if you had to pick one, it is Grealish, isn't it? And we've mentioned his battle probably coming from the left against James Milner. But, they've got Sterling, they've got Mahrez, but, I don't think that they will feature until at least the 80th minute or so. So I think Grealish is the one that I'd look at. But he's done okay. I don't think he's pulled up any trees particularly at City so far. I think he's been all right. But I think we'll have more than enough. And I think they'll be more worried about Mo Salah, the form that he's in.
Good points. SMS. Who's
Yeah,
their danger man?
It's like SS has just said there. I mean, it depends who plays, but I mean, over the last sort of 6 to 12 months, I think Gundogan's been one of their star players. Really good player. Obviously, you got Foden, but again, is he going to play? Bernardo Silva, the Mr. Unsportsmanlike
He's
conduct.
a shit house, any
Yeah.
Bernardo Silva. He's a total shit house.
So I really do hope someone goes through him on Sunday if he does play. Maybe a Millie or a Hendo or Fabinho, just to get him out of the game. Grealish is going to be obviously kissing grass, probably for 80 out of the 90 minutes. He likes to just fall over. Obviously win free kicks. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I'd say the main one for me would be Gundogan. I think he's a real danger man. He scored 2 last season. But we've still got the strongest team regardless, and I'm still confident we're going to win.
Courtney B. Lastly, who is their key strength and danger man?
You already asked me this.
Did I?
You came to me first. Key
Who
threat
did you
from
say?
there. I said it was a mixture.
Yeah.
My bad. My bad.
He's going round the roundabout again. He's missed his turning. He needs the
My
next.
We're getting on with it now.
Next left.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've had a long day at work. I didn't get in the door till 10 to 8. It's been a long day. Well, that brings us nicely on to score predictions then, doesn't it, with that bombshell?
Absolutely.
So while SS and Statman Stubbs play Jedi mind tricks, he's rent free.
We've already picked the same score.
Yeah, we'll have.
Honestly, you two, like that's not happening.
Wreck it, don't you?
Yeah. Honestly, it's bullshit. You just go in the same because then you both lose.
That man asked me last night live on his show, didn't you? And I did say
I want to see your text messages. I want to see your archives. Bollocks to that. You lot listen.
We don't really miss it, do we? We just catch up on videos.
Yeah,
bollocks to all that. Go on, Courtney. What's your score predictions? Because before these two fucking ruin it.
I'm gonna say 3-2 Liverpool.
Ooh. Courtney's expecting fireworks. Fucking hell.
Sounds like a good game.
That sounds like a kind of game which I want to be watching. Do you know? I'm not even going to give you to the satisfaction. You lot are shit houses. Look, so look at that.
Standard.
Throwing these toys out with drama.
Now you've upset the viewers. Just because of your shit house behaviour. SMS.
We're even matching t-shirts and everything.
That's what I'm saying. you two are just twinning. Like, oh, I know. What are you wearing today? Oh, I'm gonna wear grey.
It's normally MTS, to be fair. You and SS.
I'm picking 2-0. I'll pick 2-0 too.
Romance going on.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Score prediction, friends.
Well, we're both top of the league in the old predictions, so we're doing something.
Yeah.
Right?
Obviously for a reason there, so obviously getting some stuff right, you know.
You just did it together.
Come back to me when you've got at least 4 right, eh?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Audience, I don't know if you've realised SMS is now on a timeout.
Come on, TF. What are you going for? You got to get one right sometime. You nearly got the Porto one.
I nearly got the Porto one. Then we decided we wanted to score at fucking free will, didn't we? It was a 4-1. I was like, yes, I'm in here. And then Bobby goes, nope, and bags another one, didn't he? Score prediction for the City game. I'm going 2-2. 2-2. I think we're gonna have goals, but I think it's gonna end in a draw, like it always does. The early meeting always ends in a draw.
Yeah,
because it's always very pragmatic, isn't it? It's that gently approach. One team fires, the other team slaps back. Another one fires, the other team slaps back within the 90. So I'm going 2-2.
Okay.
Courtney's gone 3-2. Statman, come on, just let everybody know again what your score prediction is.
2-1 to Liverpool.
2-1 Liverpool. All right, no more airtime for you. And then and SS, what's your score prediction?
Yeah, I went 2-1 as well.
All right, no more airtime for you either. Thank you, guys. That brings us to the end of the Fab Four, where SMS and SS ruin it, and obviously go with the same score prediction. You know what? I've even given them similar nicknames. This is
You have.
terrible.
You have, to be fair.
Oh, you do realise we're wearing our home kit, not our third. Right, SS, what we got coming up for the rest of the week, and keep next week keep it tucked up your sleeve.
All right, I will. I'll keep it tucked up. Good. Yeah, we'll get them in. Yeah. So me and James will be live Sunday night after the game on Day Trippers Raw Reaction, as always, which will be really good. We've got a triple bill of Red Men guests next week. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we've got Red Men triple bill. We've got. I won't go into it too much, but Statman has been looking forward to the tier list, so there might be a cheeky tier list involved. We've also potentially got a bit of a Mo Salah special, so I won't go into too much more detail than that. But it's, you know, like you say, international break. You're going to want your content, guys. It's going to be right here.
Definitely. And guys, look, I really appreciate you joining us as well. As I mentioned before, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Please hit that bell button for the notifications. Been an absolute pleasure bringing you your Fab 4 City preview. And before we go, just tell everyone where you can find each other. I know Courtney B's blazing an absolute trail on the Twitter. So where do you know what? I'm not even giving you any more airtime. They know where to find you. They know exactly where to find you. I'm sure. Statman, where can they find you?
Or just on Twitter at Stephen Stubbs 985. Yeah,
cool. SS,
usual spot at the South Scouts, and obviously the Red Sea Pod. That's where it's at, guys. Come on, give us a sub. We're so close. I was checking it throughout the show. Now. We went up to 392, then we went back to 391. So someone must have been annoyed, and then we're back to 392 again. So 8 away. Come on.
Everyone was annoyed because you two are fixing the match prediction.
Yeah.
That's why.
Probably.
You lot are doing a Bruce Grobbler, I'm sure. But never mind, guys. You know where I'm at. Thiago's father 89. Yeah, best beard on the internet. I'm sure you will all agree. Some of our viewers did as well. As I said, it's been an absolute pleasure bringing you your Fab 4 preview. We're over and we're out.